Hello, guys. Welcome
up,
back to another episode of We Outside Afterwork podcast. We're on episode 4.
Episode number 3 from me.
Yes, because he missed the last one, but shout out to Jabbar for coming through.
Great episode.
Yeah.
I got to meet you, and I got to thank you personally.
He dropped a lot of gems as far as photography and that whole fashion industry world. So I told him he is more than welcome to come on again at another point.
And if he needs a co-star as an actor, I did get an A in my acting class at King University. You know, I'm very well versed.
They had acting at King?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did a monologue from A Shape of Things. Yes. One of these days, I'll give you another one. I got you, for real.
All right. Well, Aaron, how are you this week? This is the first. Today is it? No, today's the second day of October. So, how was your week last week?
Honestly, I'm just happy to get out of September. September was just not it. Like, it was just something. It must have been the Gatorade or something in the air. Like,
the retrograde,
whatever it is. I wasn't feeling it.
Mercury retrograde.
Obviously, I wasn't here last episode. It was a lot of sickness in the house. Baby, just going through a lot. Me going through a lot. Work been crazy. I'm just happy to be outside. Like,
that's fine though. Like,
in all honesty, but I got to learn a little bit. I got to learn, who was in my corner, who really truly reached out and made sure that they saw me on a different space. So
making sure you're okay.
Yeah. Shout out to that, because I'm usually that person. So it was good to get it reciprocated every once in a while, because it's not always like that.
Right.
But yeah, how about you? How was your week?
My week was actually pretty productive. So a couple things happened. Sunday, I had an induction ceremony. So I'm now a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. So
shout out to you.
Pretty excited about that.
It's like joining DECA. No, I'm just messing with you.
Stop. It's not DECA. But no, so their mission is to empower Black girls and women and just give a lot of information about financial literacy for families. They do political policy and mentorships and just a lot of great things within the community, and it was something that I felt like I would be a great asset to.
As you
so thank you. Yeah, I joined that on Sunday officially, and then Thursday was my last day of my real estate class. So I've been in a real estate online class. I've been taking courses since the end of July. So now I do have 2 exams I got to study for. And yeah, it's just been a lot of things, moving parts going on in my life.
How many jobs you gonna have?
You know what my grandma said?
You Jamaican, that's what she said? No, I'm
chill. No, I'm not Jamaican. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I FaceTime her every day, and I keep my family up to date with all the stuff that I'm doing. So she was like, now that your real estate class is over, like, what else are you going to do to stress yourself out? Because you're always doing something. And I'm like, I'm going to find something.
Yeah. She's definitely going to find something.
Yeah, I think it's important, though, to just try to figure out different avenues that you want to get into and, like, actually pursue them and then go from there. Because you never truly know, like, what your calling or passion is until you try and see, like, where it takes you. So. And
the crazy thing is, I was talking to Marvin as I got in, Marvin, our engineer. And we were listening. We were talking about what I was listening to on my way here, because it was a nice little 2-hour drive. But it's all worth it for you guys, in all honesty. And I was listening to Channing Crowder from the Pivot podcast. And he was like, you don't know what you're going to get into until you get into it. And it's okay to fail. He was like, you learn from failures. And,
exactly.
In this infancy of our podcast, we're going to go through our bumps in the roads. We're going to go through the little things that's going to make us better. And we're going to avoid the things that are going to make us worse. And we appreciate everybody for joining us on this journey.
Yes.
Because this is not something that we just decided to do. This is real for us. This is not no fly-by-night type shit.
And this is a job. Like, podcasting is a job. You have to be consistent. And I also watched the See the Thing Is podcast, and they were saying how most podcasters, they stop after 3 months. And then people are like, oh, where are the episodes? Like, what happened? And I don't want that to happen to us, which is why I think consistency is important. Scheduling out our upcoming episodes and things like that, just to prepare us to just, stay focused with the podcast. So, and I enjoy it. Like, to me, like, this is really like a therapy session for real, at the end of the week. So,
and Black folks need their therapy.
So I actually did therapy one time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find another therapist. And it was my last job last year. Right after, it was like still during like COVID reminisce stuff happening or whatever. And they paid for 5 free therapy sessions of your choosing. So I found a Black female therapist and I was excited about it. I'm like, okay, people always talk about therapy and how important it is and how it helps them. So like, I want to do it. So it was on a Saturday morning. And she just the energy I got from her, it was online, like it was through Zoom, I
thought it was going to be off.
No, it was through Zoom. But you know how you could just tell someone just is not interested in what you have to say? Yeah. I instantly got that as soon as we started. I don't want to go into detail of what we talked about, but her reactions to what I was saying was like, she just didn't give a fuck. She was like, oh, really? Like, how would that make you feel? And like rolling her eyes. And I was just like, and then, so it was supposed to be an hour session. It ended up, she tried to cut me off at 20 minutes to be like, oh, well we'll reconvene. No, the insurance paid for it, but my job paid for it. But anyway, it was just so like, if I didn't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I still want to find a better therapist and keep going and keep doing it, because I think it's important for your spiritual growth and your growth as a person to talk to somebody about the issues and things that you're going through.
Do you feel like you need a PhD to really have therapy sessions with people? Or do you feel, because like you said, this is like a therapy session for us.
Right.
Do you feel like more people need to just start internalizing their it doesn't have to be issues, it's just the things going on with themselves, with the people that they value? Because I don't mean to bring up another podcast that I was on last week, since I wasn't on this podcast. I think that was kind of like just
he ditched us, guys.
Crazy turn of events,
to go to a different one.
But on the show, we was talking about like boys being boys and not being able to relate to each other and have those conversations. Women, for the most part, they tend to be able to relate to each other, have conversations. I don't know how open and transparent y'all might be with one another for specific details, but I know men, we struggle with that. So
I think it depends on the friend, because there are friends that I confide in just because we have that chemistry and I've known, and I don't think it has to do with knowing someone for so long, but it's just about how they value you in the friendship. Like if they check in often, and it doesn't have to be every day because we all have a lot going on in our lives, but just to have someone to just like talk to and relate to and just speak your problems without it just building up internally until eventually you can't deal with it anymore and it explodes. Like, I think it's just better to have someone, friend, family, to express things that you're going through, because I have that with a few friends and I look forward to our conversations, and we end up talking for maybe like an hour to an hour and a half on the phone without even realizing it, because we're just so into the conversation and stuff that we're going through, and we're like, oh, that happened with you, well, this is my situation. So it's I think it helps, and it doesn't have, they don't have to have a PhD. It's just someone to, just confide in.
Well, I know I typically struggle with my emotional like reaction to things. Like I'm not one of those people that can't express myself or not afraid to tell you how I'm feeling, like my vulnerabilities. But I like struggle to cry.
I struggle with vulnerability.
Yeah, like I struggle crying, right? I don't necessarily struggle because I'm a man. I'm not supposed to cry or shit like that. But it's like, it just don't happen for me.
You don't have to cry though. Like, I think as long as
like I can't express great levels of emotion. It's just like I'm
it doesn't
upset,
have to be
frustrated,
that, though.
and that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all of that. So, okay, when you are frustrated, do you have someone that you talk your stuff through?
I try not to. I try to just let it go, because it goes every single time. Like, I don't get to the point where I balloon and blow up. Because if I do blow up, it's in the moment. It's never on some
Like a build up?
It built up. Yeah, no, okay. I don't do that.
Yeah, see, for me, like, I need to talk things through. Like, for example, with past relationships, if something happens or if I'm not comfortable with something, I cannot just brush it under the rug and then we act like everything's okay. Like, even at work, too. So, at work, I'm dealing with a lot of just changes. Like, I had a conversation with my boss on Friday just about different things that's going on in my life. And it came down to a point where me telling him, I'm like, honestly, I'm that person where I like to separate personal and work because I never want, work is going to be affected if your personal life is not in order. But I don't want a whole bunch of people knowing my business at work because people gossip. Like, that's the number one thing they do at work is just to gossip about different people, what they got going on. And I don't want to be that person. Like, I already know I'm a minority. I already know I am a female. I'm young. Like, I got all these things against me. Not against me, but like, it just puts a target on my back for people to be like, oh, she don't really know her shit. So for me to just express all of my personal things and them knowing like, oh, she got this going on, that going on, that's why she probably can't do this. And it's like, I don't want people to view me in that light. So this was a conversation I had with my boss on Friday. And I low-key felt the way telling him this, but I also felt relieved because how many bosses actually want to know about their employees and what they have going on? And one takeaway that I took from the conversation, because we were talking for maybe like an hour and a half, and it's supposed to be like 30 minutes. But he was like, I want to know what's affecting the people who work for me because he said, I am the chain. This is white guy. He's like, I'm the chain. But you guys are the links that hold the chain together. Okay. And I was like, okay, like, I like that. Like, that makes sense. Like, I get that. So that just goes back to like me being vulnerable. Like, when I was having this conversation, I just felt like, it was just a feeling of like, I don't want to say this, but I have to just express what I got going on.
Of course.
You know. So.
But that's also why you want to like keep things outside of work. Like you don't want to involve small things like relationships within the workplace, right?
Oh no.
Because situations like that now, for me, work is my place where I can let all of that shit at home go. I can let all the drama, all that stuff go, and I can focus on work. And my work struggles are work struggles. Like, I'm not going to act like it's not a realistic thing. But at the same time, if I now involve outside drama in work.
But I think it depends on how severe stuff is at home. Like, if it's just you and your girl or your wife or your boyfriend or whatever the case, just like fighting and I got into an argument in the morning and now you got an attitude at work, but like you can leave that home and just focus on work.
I could easily bounce that off. That stuff
but I feel like if you're dealing with like a death in the family or something super traumatic happened, you should either take time off to get yourself together, or your work is going to be like very affected by it.
So I had a situation where my great grandmother passed away when I was in college.
Oh wow! Sorry for your loss.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm the type of person that I don't show anything on my face. Like, you can't tell if I'm upset, frustrated, whatnot. But two of my friends, Amy in Nigeria, two of my best friends, they were like, Aaron, something's off with you. Like, what's up? And I'm like, I can't let that show. And it's not that I'm avoiding my emotions and avoiding my
like,
grief.
Don't let it show, or that's just like your natural.
It's like I gotta stay focused. I got shit to do, and I can handle my grief when I'm outside of moments of grief, where I'm not going to potentially negatively affect anything else. Because if I got work to do and I got people that relies on me, especially if I'm running things, like, I'm a boss, so I can't just shut down.
I think leaders and managers and bosses, like, they need that time because we're all human. Like, we're not robots, and we're not just gonna act like we don't have feelings and stuff isn't affecting us. Like, I don't think it's also like a feminine or like masculine thing if you show emotion. Like, that's just a human trait. So with that being said, like, for me, like, I'm also like that too. When it comes to work, like, I just want to get my work done, focus on my tasks ahead of me, and like not really think about my personal life. But like I was saying, depending on the severity of what's going on personally, like it will affect my work life. So speaking of work life, let's segue into our first topic with the
Boston Celtics head coach.
Yes, the
Or
Celtics.
I don't even know if he's still going to be the head coach.
I don't either. And y'all know, I've mentioned before, I do not watch sports, but this was just all over the internet because I love Nia Long. I love all the movies that she's been in. She's a phenomenal actress.
I mean, she typically plays the same role.
She plays the wife or the girlfriend.
That probably is the side wife or got cheated on or toxic or problematic. Seems like she's indicative of her life. I'm just saying.
What? No. First of all, that's an assumption. No.
It is an assumption. I'm definitely assuming.
But her, I heard they weren't even married.
They were engaged for, I believe, 5 or 6 years.
Okay. All right, guys.
And they do have children together.
Okay, so we're talking about the head coach Ime Udoka and how he cheated on and got caught and cheated on Nia Long. So let's segue into what are your thoughts with dating in the workplace, even if it's okay. Like, let's say your job doesn't have a policy with dating someone that you work with, but do you think it's appropriate?
So, for starters, I think it's important to know.
And would you do it?
I think it's important to know I've never dated somebody at work.
Okay. Me neither.
Not that I think it's inappropriate on certain levels. Like, if we're peers, it is what it is, right? For me, I have the ability to hire and fire people. So, I can't date somebody below me. Because now that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I have this person potentially using me as a way to ascend, or I can
like climb the ladder,
or I can basically damn, what's the word? Now you got me struggling with words.
Normally, you good with grammar, but
like some people got like revenge policies in the companies where it's like, oh, this person, they broke up with me, so now they're gonna like try to spite me. You want to avoid all of that stuff.
So you feel like if they were, let's say you were the manager, it's okay for you to date another manager, but you're not dating an employee that
Absolutely
you
not.
are in charge of. Okay,
Absolutely not.
That makes sense. To me, I never wanted to date anyone I work with, and I've had a few opportunities where like you could tell when people like you, like they keep coming over to your desk, talking to you, flirting with you, and to me, I feel like I don't necessarily, because I'm a friendly person, especially like if, you know, I enjoy our conversations, but I'm not gonna say like, hey, I'm not interested. Like I will, like if someone tries to like just do too much as far as like, oh, let me get your number, let's hang out after work and stuff like that, I more so push back from that because I'm like, no, I already know where this is going. And it comes down to, let's say things don't work out, which I feel like most of the time it does not when you are dating or doing whatever with someone you work with.
Every goddamn day.
Exactly. And it just makes it awkward. And I just don't want to deal with that. And I love the fact that I can separate my personal life, like we were saying, with work life. Like there's a balance. Like my person that I'm with, my boyfriend, they'll be at home and I'll see you after work. Like I don't want to see you outside of work then see you at work. Like it's just too much for me. Like I need my time away.
I've been blessed with unattractive coworkers, so I've never really had anything to worry about. Like in all honesty, it's just never been a thing for me. And don't get me wrong, being in a position to hire and fire people, you get a lot of people who interview who are very attractive, right? Do you make that decision to hire somebody because they're cute? Absolutely not.
No.
Like you have to
look
that
at
line
their
in the sand.
experience. And
now, don't get me wrong, I have hired attractive people, but it's not because they're attractive. And I know every single day that I walk into this building, okay, she's cute, but I can ignore that. I'm not there for that. Plus, working in retail, you see beautiful women all day, every day.
Right, they're coming in
the
and out
last thing I want to be
stores.
distracted about is somebody that works for me when I have single moms running around the store all day. Like, it's honestly one of my favorite parts of the day.
Oh God!
But
see, a couple years ago, I worked at a job where it was my first corporate job. Like, I was still in college, and I would schedule my classes around this job. And I was working like 10-hour days, 3 days out the week, so that I can balance school and work. So most times, like, I'm working with white males, but this one particular job, like, there was a contractor who was this black guy. Like, he was probably maybe like, I would say late 40s, mid 50s, but he didn't look it. Like, he was like in shape, salt and pepper beard, nice smile. He was cute.
A sugar daddy.
No.
He had to be. He was old.
He wasn't a sugar daddy.
You was fresh out of college and he had salt and pepper beard.
But listen, we worked at the same company and he had his own office and he was a contractor. But because they gave him an office, I was like, normally contractors don't get offices. So because, I don't know, whenever I work with somebody black, we just instantly click. You know how it is, right? So he would always just like ask me to just come to his office and like check out certain like whatever, right? Anyway, there were times when I could tell he was like flirting because he would always like tell me to come on the other side of his computer to see his screen when he could have just turned it. But and
you came on the other side of the computer every time. It's just young, impressionable.
Anyway, but there was a point where I noticed, I was like, damn, I think he's actually like trying to push up on me. But because I knew I would see him every day and he was older and I just did not want to cross that line and see him every single day if things didn't work out, I kind of was just like, let me set that boundary, let me keep a little distance. And he eventually left the company, but you know, we kind of stayed in contact a little bit afterwards, but it was nothing on some like I was trying to see where things go, and
of course,
like it was just never that because I knew we worked together.
That reminds me, I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's one of my favorite movies.
I've seen a lot of movies.
Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. You ever seen that movie?
Yes, I love that movie.
So you remember with the old dude when he was trying to date Rose, and then he was dating Sue Ellen.
Yes.
And then he took her out to dinner, and then she, like, it reminds me of that whole situation. Like, you're just an old little creep, man.
But he didn't know because she was working at that company with him
he didn't
thinking that
he didn't know she was
a
teenager. No, that's
right, right. So you just would not with anyone that you work with.
But see, I think that situation and that story is a little bit more fascinating than it needs to be. Because, for starters, they're in an open relationship. So if he decides that he wants to step out of that, by all means, do what you need to do. Even if he was having inappropriate relationships with someone on the staff, right? I don't recommend it because
they were saying she was married too.
I don't care. If you cheat, you cheat. That's not illegal, right? You shouldn't get fired from your job for cheating.
Did he get fired?
He got suspended. But would you get suspended from your job if you cheated?
No, but that's the thing. It's like,
even if you cheated on your coworker, would you get suspended?
No, but I think because his fiance Nia Long is in the public eye, and because I feel like it was going to be a story that was so public, which came out and like everybody was talking about it. It puts just a sour taste in.
I don't think
you don't think so.
No, I think the problem was he fucked to the owner's wife.
You believe that though? I feel like there's
it.
always other rumors that come out, and it's kind of like how true it is. But it could be because he was messing with someone higher.
You mess with the wrong person.
Yeah,
like you can't just have sex with whoever you want to because you want to.
That's dumb on his point.
I mean, is it?
It is.
So the internet is saying that he's a sex addict, right? I don't think that's a thing. I think there's just a human who enjoys interactions with another woman.
But how would they know that? Like that's
because they say he has a laundry list of history of having these type of infractions
of cheating.
Not necessarily just cheating, but just he's like a serial sex not offender. I don't want to.
That's some strong words.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's like a
don't put that out there
racist or anything, but like that's his thing.
Okay.
So I don't think that has anything to do with him coaching a basketball team. The same way, I don't think if I was to have sex with one of my coworkers, that would impact me as a leader. Now,
no, that doesn't.
If it was one of the people that I employed, I completely understand that you don't do that.
Yeah.
But I would, if my district manager was 30 years younger and a little bit more attractive, and she wanted to take a ride on the wild slide.
Oh my God.
Because you got to do what you got to do.
But I feel like it's just so dumb on his part, because why would you mess with someone higher up's wife? Like, did you think you wouldn't get caught and it would not affect your job? Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that was just very, like,
you think
dumb.
Anybody cheats that think they're going to get caught?
No, but
they got caught on the Ring camera. So according to the stories, the internet.
You know all the details.
Yeah, I'm in the sports loop. So
okay.
And Twitter, they don't stop talking. Once you look at one story, it's
down a rabbit hole.
But I mean, if that's the truth, because this is all speculation, I don't have any of the facts aside from he got suspended for potential sexual impropriety.
I feel bad for Nia Long, though, and her
Why?
children, because apparently they said she just moved to Boston, or was in the middle of moving to Boston to be with him and to be closer. So it's like you already uprooted your children's lives from wherever they was living to there. Now it's like, are you gonna do? You most likely gonna do that again. Like, why would you stay?
But we don't know what their situation is. They were in an open relation. Publicly, it states that they were in an open relationship. So if for someone who isn't opposed to open relationships, it is what it is. Like, I think we need to broaden our horizons to that. It's no different than Will and Jada, right? We know Will and Jada were in an open relationship. So when
we don't know that.
No,
though.
they said been public information for like 20 years.
I never actually heard them say that though.
It's been a thing. That's where the term came from.
I think Will Smith, he came out and said like they've never been in an open relationship.
For all I've known of what an open relationship is, it's based on Will Smith and Jada. It was way before the August Alsina stuff.
Okay.
So when you get things like that type of information, it's like Will Smith really has no room to be upset like about August Alsina. That's just the internet. The internet makes their way of making things bigger than what they need to be.
Right. So, but I also feel like when you are a public figure and you are dating someone and your spouse is a public figure as well, like your relationship is just going to be like put out there,
which is
regardless.
Fine. Which is why Nia Long needs to step out, because she's a public figure.
What do you mean step out? Like she needs to go?
No. She needs to address it.
Oh.
Like
make a statement.
As one of the most beautiful black actresses of all time, 51 years old, unmarried. I'm not going to place any blame on her for someone cheating on her, but it's clearly something there that gives him this out. Like, you don't just cheat on Nia Long.
I mean, yeah, I think it would make sense for her to say something, but at the same time, it's like maybe she just had no clue.
I don't think she had no clue.
I don't know, but this is all speculation. Like at the end of the day, like we don't know. We don't know any of these celebrities personally. Like we don't run in their circles, so a lot of people just like trying to assume they know all the ins and outs. Like I'm just like, well, no one was ever my relationship goals. Like I was never that person like, I want a relationship like Will and Jada or whoever. Like that's just never been me, because like pictures, they look nice, but there's always a lot of shit going on behind the scenes.
So in your current headspace versus the younger you fresh out of college, would you date someone at work now?
Still probably no, because I truly don't want to cross that boundary. Like I was saying, how people gossip at work, like most of the people who I work with, like they're not attractive either, but usually the people who I have worked with in the past who are attractive, they are in higher up positions, and I don't want to be that person that I do end up either dating someone who's not necessarily my manager, but they're in a position at the company where like if I get promoted or something, people looking at me sideways like, oh yeah, we know why she got promoted.
Absolutely. That's another reason why I try to avoid stuff like that, because now you looked at it in a favorable light.
Exactly.
It's like, no, I put in my
like I got the
grind.
skills, like I got the experience, like the material, so this isn't like, oh, she's just cute and she's dating so and so. Like no, like I know my shit.
You gotta coin that.
What?
You know the material. I like that.
That's a thing.
Oh, so it's a real thing?
I don't know. I've heard.
It's yours. That's yours. You know the material.
You know the material.
Shit. Damn.
Yeah. Okay. So let's segue into another topic, something that I'm not gonna lie, I felt the way when I saw this. Rihanna being the headliner for the Super Bowl.
Why? Why'd you feel that way?
Because, like, don't get me wrong, I love Rihanna. I love all her hits. Like, I listen to all of them. I'm not like a diehard fan, but she just been out of the music scene for a minute. Number one. Number two, let me get my points out.
I'm just going
Number two,
fester that.
she just had a child, so she is not necessarily in shape, which I'm pretty sure she will be by the time she performs. And number three is like, I don't want to, because I feel like the Super Bowl is a huge stage, right? Like it's nationwide, and I don't want to hear her perform the same songs that it's been out like over 10, like I don't know, like I want new material, like I want something different. And yes, she has time to put out new music and stuff like that, but it's been how many years that people were asking for new music and she has not put anything out. She's just been doing like Fenty Beauty and like her lingerie line, which is great because like I got some stuff from there as well.
Oh, do we?
But but my thing is, like, out of all people, like, yes, she's a billionaire, she's beautiful, she's talented, but to me it just doesn't make sense.
Well, Jay-Z is in charge of the NFL's like music and all that kind of stuff, so that portion of it makes plenty of sense. And for the last 2 years, have we not been on a versus loop where all we do is listen to people rehash old music after old music after old music, and we love it? We've been running an Instagram live to tune in to people with their hits. So when Beyonce was on the Super Bowl, was it really new material? Was it Formation that she did? Like,
but Beyonce she's like an entertainer. Like, you gotta get a show. Is Rihanna
not an entertainer?
She I don't know.
I've
never
enjoy
seen
Rihanna that much.
I've never seen her in concert. I don't think I've ever seen videos of her in concert, but it's been a minute since she's been on like the main stage. But I think the reason why my view is a little swayed is because, and I know this may sound controversial, but like I am a huge Chris Brown fan. Okay? Like, I am a diehard Chris Brown fan. I've been a fan since I was in middle school, and we all know what happened with him and Rihanna, right?
So is that affecting your judgment?
It's not. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because I've been to probably 2 or 3 Chris Brown concerts. This man puts on a show. Like, he is a full-blown entertainer. He's dancing, singing. The visuals are dope. Like, it's like a whole production.
How long is the Chris Brown concert?
He probably like 2 hours or like an hour and a half. How long is the Super Bowl
halftime show?
Right, but you can cut the music and songs down. So it's not like
it's gonna be like 20 minutes of her doing the hits, because the Super Bowl halftime show is mostly geared towards women.
But if you think back to the past performers, like there was Michael Jackson.
There was a lot of bad
there
ones
was Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson, which, you know, he pulled her titty out and all of that. But
I missed it too. That could have been my first titty on TV.
Nonetheless, though, like, it's like a huge production. It's very entertaining. Like, it's something where you're like, wow, like, this was amazing. And I feel like Chris Brown, he has that stardom. Like, he is our generation Michael Jackson, and he's still performing.
I'm sorry. I'm Usher before Chris Brown. So
did Usher do the
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did at one point.
The Super Bowl? I'm sure I don't know. But he would be a great option too. But I just feel like right now, like, Chris Brown, he's just really like doing his thing.
I think you are conflating the two, though, because that's not fair to either one of them, right? Because this is Rihanna's moment. If she doesn't deserve it for your reasons,
I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying right now doesn't make sense.
I don't know. She's a superstar. She
is a superstar.
If Rihanna decides that she's gonna bring out a new song at the Super Bowl, it's gonna break the internet, and we all know that. With that possibility, it can potentially break the internet just because people are gonna be curious. Rihanna has that level of Lauryn Hill, right? When Lauryn Hill dropped one album, now it's like, oh, is she ever going to do another one? Is she ever going to do another one?
Mm-hmm.
Now she could show up late to shows and people still going to want to go because it's like maybe Lauryn Hill might give us something new. That was 20 years ago, almost 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And she still has that with people.
And shout out to Lauryn Hill. She's from Jersey, you know.
Is she?
Yeah,
what part?
I think she's from Maplewood. South Orange, East Orange, one of those.
Drop a bomb for her. Hey.
I used to see her at Home Depot. I didn't even know what she looked like in real life, but I was working for Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped her with a Hilti.
Was she by herself?
Yeah. Nah, she had some kids with her. She had like a big ass stroller.
Security?
Nah, kids. She had like 3. Nah, she ain't had no security.
Oh.
Nah, I didn't know who she was. She looked like a regular.
She looked regular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, but like back to my point, I just feel like Chris Brown has it. And I think a lot of people, they try to act like they don't fuck with Chris Brown because of what happened with Rihanna. Mm-hmm. But he's always on the radio. He's always featured on songs. Like, he is a huge international
I think he's
artist.
all that despite, right? Because I do think Chris Brown is blacklisted in a way. Mm-hmm. Because Chris Brown should be better than The Weeknd. He should be near Bruno Mars.
Yeah, I think honestly it's his management.
I think society is still uncomfortable with the visual. And if we want to make this a little bit controversial of a conversation, I think Rihanna was absolved of a lot of her wrongdoings in those moments too because of what the visual was. It's like,
I think because it was domestic violence,
but it was domestic violence on both parts.
It was,
and we all know that.
But I think it was also her team. Like, they were very conscious of what they put out as far as like statements and stuff like that. And then Chris Brown, like, he kind of just like spiraled into a whole bunch of other things that he was doing. Like, a whole bunch of, I think he would like trash the hotel and did a lot of stupid shit. But nonetheless, like, he still kept going, still persevered, and still put out music for his fans. Like, he rides for Team Breezy. Like, you seen his meet and greet pictures going all around the internet, and him like grabbing ass and
Bow Wow's doing the same thing for $1,000. Okay. Shout out to Bow Wow. I need everybody to.
Nobody wants a shout out for Bow Wow.
Bow Wow is
Shad Moss.
He's one of the gods of this business and this industry. We need to give him his praise.
We could give him his flowers. Like,
he don't need flowers. He need continuous praise. He's still doing it. That's my guy. You know how you feel about Chris Brown?
That's how you feel about
not
Bow
like that,
Wow?
because you got like an attraction to him. But Bow Wow's my guy. You know, as a kid, I had to listen to all the Bow Wow songs, all the B2K songs, all the Chris Brown songs, because that's what the girls like.
But I feel like Bow Wow, he's not that guy right now.
He ain't gotta be. He was.
But Chris Brown is still like charting and still being featured on the latest artist music.
So keep this, right? You know how you said Beyonce is an entertainer, Chris Brown's an entertainer. We need to get Bow Wow to do the Super Bowl, because I don't know if you see, but Bow Wow is an entertainer.
No. What the fuck?
You wouldn't be down with that?
No, not for the Super Bowl. Like, if he was doing a tour.
Super Bowl.
No, bruh. Yeah. Like, I cannot.
You just take the L out because he winning. You feel me?
No,
that wasn't good.
I'm
I thought that was a good
one. He's not. Is he international?
Hell yeah, he's international.
But he also don't look the same though. Like, he looks plump now. You know, like, he don't have that sex appeal that he had like as a child, and then he got like.
Well, I guess it's different because you were a child at the time, but I hope no adults.
He looks like somebody's freaking 40-year-old plump father.
Yeah, he is somebody's 40-year-old plump father.
Right, but Chris Brown got like 3 kids.
Chris Brown's also like 30. What is he, 32?
Like 33.
Yeah, he's my age. A year older, maybe. 88. I think he was born in 88.
Either way, like, he is still making music for his fans and still like a top artist. So I feel like people be trying to play him and not really put him on these main stages that he deserves to be on.
Chris Brown in my zone got me through my entire sophomore year of college. Shout out to Chris Brown.
Yeah, shout out to
him. As long as he don't do no Trey Songz shit, because, you know, he's been bugging. I mean, Trey.
Oh, we gonna get into Trey Songz?
Nah, we ain't gonna get into Trey Songz.
You know what's crazy? When I was just listening to Need a Girl, Trey Songz, and his throwback music is really good.
Yeah,
I feel a weight listening to his music now. Like, I don't turn it off. Like, it's not R. Kelly music.
But is it not?
It's not, because it's not on the same level of R. Kelly, because I feel like Trey Songz he has all these allegations against him, but there hasn't been no like actual factual stuff that came out with him doing like crazy shit. Like he is on the creep level, but and I feel a little weird listening to his music. Like I'm gonna still listen, but I'm not listening to R. Kelly.
You know, I don't think he's R. Kelly levels of bad.
No, that's
I do think men have this natural like assertiveness sometimes that it can definitely be misconstrued. Like I think it was a video trending with Antonio Brown in Dubai, and he's like dunking this white girl into this water, and he's like stroking his dick in the water. Like it was some wild shit. It was some wild shit. I didn't see that video. But the internet is saying like, oh, he's sexually assaulting her and all this kind of stuff. Like, yo, we don't know who this woman is, how they playing.
Right.
And some people like that, and some people don't like it. So
yeah, you gotta show me that video afterwards because I've never seen it. I might post it. He was trending
all day yesterday. It was crazy.
I'm gonna probably post it on the YouTube channel so people could see if they have not, because that's wild. Okay, so let's segue into Nick Cannon.
Shout out to Nick Cannon. You know how I feel about Bow Wow? I feel the same exact way about Nick Cannon. Why? I love Nick Cannon. I think Nick Cannon is the greatest human being on this planet. Him and Jamie Foxx.
Why do you feel that way? I love Jamie Foxx. Yeah. Jamie Foxx is funny.
Jamie Foxx is the greatest entertainer of all time.
Yes. But I feel like he don't really... Maybe he has a lot of things coming up, but he is a singer, an actor, comedian. Like he's not, I don't know. To me, he's not really doing too much. No, you know, like he's kind of staying behind the scenes.
And he shows a lot of love. So shout out to Jamie Foxx. But regarding Nick Cannon, he just welcomed, I believe, number 10.
His 10th baby.
Number 10.
God
what?
First of all, the fact that he has, I don't know how many baby moms.
Well, that got to do anything.
I'm just saying, like, that is too much to keep up with. And
for who?
The fact that, so the only reason why I like Nick Cannon is because he had twins with Mariah Carey. And I'm also a diehard Mariah Carey fan. Like, the way I feel about Chris Brown is how I feel about Mariah Carey.
You want to do your My All challenge for us?
Yo, if I could sing, I would.
You want to try?
Nah.
Okay. These are good mics.
I know. You're going to hear my voice cracking. So I'm going to skip on that. But, yeah, he had twins with her, and that was, like, his first wife. And after that, I feel like he went into some, not even polygamy. It's more so, like, him just having babies with a whole bunch of these wilding out model-esque girls.
I don't see the problem with it. As someone who also views life in its freeness, where how we interact is how we interact. Sex is just like an additive, essentially, for his relationship.
But you have children, and like children, to me, children are they are lifelong connections to the person that you have children with. So I feel like that is something that you should have a bond with someone that you potentially want to be with for a very long time. Like you don't have to get married. The woman or the child? I'm saying like the couple, like the guy and the girl. Like you don't necessarily have to get married, but I feel like if you choose to have a child with someone, it should be more serious and spiritual, and to the point where like you're not just popping out babies for whoever.
I don't think that's what he's doing though. I think everyone that he's having a baby with, they appear to have some sort of connection, some kind of special relationship. Like this last baby, he didn't even have a baby shower for her. He had like a moment of rise or something like that.
What the fuck is that?
I posted it on my Instagram the other day. It's like he had a moment where it's like it's not just celebrating the new baby that we're having. It's celebrating this entire spirit and realm of life and all this spiritual shit that I know nothing about. But
I feel like he just be making stuff up and manipulating these women and making them believe whatever kind of nonsense. Do you think the women are stupid?
Seriously.
I don't know, because to me, I feel like if you know, like they're going into this situation with him having children, knowing that he's never stayed with the previous baby mother. So is it an agreement where they know that and he tells them that like, hey, I just want you to have my child and I'm gonna move on to the other person?
Potentially.
That's what it seems like.
I look at it like this, right? Nick Cannon is a global entertainer, right? He likely isn't going to be home a lot, period. So whether he has one baby or 75 babies, his time is still going to be dedicated so much to his conglomerates, his multitude of dealing with this entity and being this place and that place.
But so, when he does have free time, how, like, let's say he only has, let's say, 3 days, and your children, you have about 10 children, are spread out throughout the United States. Are you traveling to every single place to visit your children? Because I feel like spending time with children when they're young, like, that helps build up their being, you know? So spending time with their father, like both parents. So you being absent in their life, like, I feel like it is going to have a negative effect on how they are as a person. And it's not fair. Like, to me, I don't think it's fair.
As a father of two, where I don't live with my son and I do live with my daughter, time is very, very fickle, right? I literally live with my daughter, and I see my son more in a week than I do her, and I don't live with him. And that's just picking him up for practice and picking him up for games and different things like that. So it's easy to manipulate what my time looks like.
But you have 2.
Okay. And if I had 10, it would probably be the same situation where I'm still trying to divvy up my time.
Right, but you're in close vicinity.
If he had 10 children with 2 women, right? One of these kids was 18. One of these kids was an infant. One of these kids was middle, like 12. All those kids are in different spaces, doing different things, needing different things from you. So for us to judge him based on what we think he should be doing versus what he actually wants to do, I think is unfair.
I'm not judging him. I just feel like it's not fair to the children.
We don't know that yet until the children tells us.
Right.
As a parent, I learned, because my son had tripped me out one time because his mom was dating another guy. So, and I was dating my daughter's mom. So I was washing him up in the bathroom, and he goes, "I have 2 dads." So
did you know?
I knew she was dating.
She was dating, okay.
So I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. You got 2 dads. You have two moms?" "No, but I have 2 dads." So I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Now I'm offended."
So you feel away.
Yeah, now I'm offended. You only got 1 dad. If you only got 1 mom, you only got 1 dad, right? But part of it was, all right, he sees this person more than me. Our situation was very particular, so he's seen the other guy more than me, but the other guy, unfortunately, they end up breaking up. So I gave him like a heads up of like, you know, this person may potentially not be permanent. Whereas no matter what, I'm always going to be here. Whatever time we spend, I'm always going to be here. So those moments definitely made an impact. But I only had my son on weekends. So 2, 3, 4 hours made a huge difference to the point where we have a connection that you can't break. So I don't know what Nick Cannon's connection is like with those children.
We don't know their situation because we're just assuming, and we are coming from an outside lens looking in,
which is fine.
But I think when you have so many children in different cities, my thing is like, these women, they gotta just agree to just be the baby mom, because I don't think he's having an actual relationship with these women. And as a female, and from what I've heard, and I have friends who have children, and how much having a child affects your body, it's like, for me, I just wouldn't want to do that with just anybody. Someone that tells me like, hey, you're going to be my 5th baby mother, and we're going to take pictures, and I'm going to come visit when I can, but that's really it. Like, those nights of them having to get up every night with the baby and feed them and all of that, like, maybe they have a nanny to help, but I just feel like it's just a better connection when the father of the child is there. But when you have
sounds like excuses to me.
What you mean excuses?
I'm a go to old school 1927 America here, and this might sound misogynistic, but we don't mind tackling controversial shit.
Right.
Back in the day, a man would work 20 hours. A woman would be at home with all 14 of them kids, feeding them, nursing them, cleaning up, doing all that kind of stuff. And it was no complaints. It was no issues. All right. Now, granted, women are outside in the workforce right now, so the time is different. Your energies are different.
Right.
But let's not act like you can't raise children by having a busy, I'm not going to say absent, but a busy parent who isn't there 24/7. growing up, my grandfather was always present in the house. When he got home from work, he might say hello, he might say goodbye, he might interact with us, but for the most part, he goes into his room, he shuts his door, he watches his TV. And he wasn't no bad parent.
It's doable. Like, it's definitely doable. I'm not saying it's not doable. I think I'm actually thinking of the woman's perspective and like what kind of mindset you have to be in to just agree to have a child by someone who has more than 5 baby mothers, to have a child and then you just have that child and you'll see him when you see him, knowing he's spending time with other women. Like, is it polygamy?
So are you upset that he's not a father or not a husband?
I'm not upset. I'm just
saying, if you were in that situation, because it sounds like you're less concerned with him as a parent and more concerned with him as a partner.
If I was in that situation, I think I would be more upset of both. First of all, I would not be in that fucking situation. Because,
I would. Like, shit, Oprah, come find me.
I'm not down for that. I'm sorry. I don't care how much money you have and how much money you give me. Like, having a child just seems much more deeper to me than just like, okay, I'm gonna be the 4th baby mother and then I'll see you when I see you, and like my body's going through all these changes and stuff like that, and I'm gonna go through it by myself, and I'm gonna see you on FaceTime and we'll talk when you have time. Like, to me, time is everything. Like, my love languages are quality time, physical touch, and a whole bunch of other shit, probably all of them. But because that is a top thing for me, just the thought of having a child by someone who I know is not going to be there and have multiple women like that and with multiple children, I could not even.
So what kind of man professionally do you want?
Someone who has a schedule that they can change when needed. Like, they have a schedule that works for them, that's flexible.
As someone who has 2 children with a flexible, efficient schedule, I can tell you that it really impacts my time and being there and being present in certain moments. Now, I can make excuses, I can change, and I can try to find something that's more feasible. And I do that. I'm actively looking for different things that gives me available weekends and different things like that. But sometimes it is not possible, especially when you get higher up that financial ladder. That's why a lot of women like entrepreneurs and entertainers.
I think
and
that's
different things like
that's
that.
what I'm looking for. That's why I'm waiting.
Because they can make time because it is their time. Their business is their business.
Exactly.
But if you want someone that is like a director or an executive, like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, especially 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're dedicating a lot of time to your job, and that's what I don't want. So when I eventually find the person I'm going to marry and have children with and do all of that, like, you need to be able to manipulate your schedule that works for me.
Which is selfish.
Well, shit, I guess I'm selfish. Okay, guys. We are going to wrap up this episode here. It's been not a full hour, but, you know.
I had fun.
I had fun, too. I feel like it kind of went by fast this time. So, yeah, guys, you can follow us on our Instagram page. And we do have a Gmail account. I didn't mention it in the last episode, but the Gmail account is woawpod@gmail.com. You can send in questions or situations you got going on at work or something that you may need advice for, and we are here to help.
And we want to do everything we can for our coworkers, so let us know what's up. You know, talk to us on Instagram. You never know if you're gonna get Dana or you're gonna get me,
because we both run the Instagram page.
Yeah, and we want to interact with y'all. We want y'all to give us some feedback, like, share, comment, talk to your friends, talk to your coworkers. Get us out there. You know, we need y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys for watching and listening.
We out.
We out.